you're going to love today's episode because this is the transit in the gate of provocation. And oh my God, you won't even guess how we started our conversation with Anita today. In fact, I was almost ready to quit. I reached out to Anita, said, Anita, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't think that this is something that people who are in my audience want, because there's some people that aren't subscribing, and I don't know if my body wants to do it. And I went to the, to put my makeup on this morning, and this is usually something I really like. And my body was like, nope, and leaving the bathroom and going back, and I just had this back and forth, and really, really strong, powerful energy. And I said, you know what? Transparency is one of my values. So I'm going to reach out to Anita and talk about this. And when we got on the call, she was just saying, oh my God, this is the energy of this week. And Anita, maybe you can just talk to us about, like, what is it without wanting to quit that's happening right now?
Oh my goodness. It's the body has very few responses to very many things. So when I'm afraid or when I'm angry, it might be that I'm hungry. It might be that I'm tired. It might be that someone has stepped on my toes and I need to set a boundary, right? So you won't know what the anger is telling you until you get back into balance. So this week is about teasing out the energies that are out of alignment with what we're doing next. We're moving its root center. So we're moving from the traditional, the tribe, the family dynamic into the next level. And we meet fight on the way in there. It's like the seedling breaking through the soil. It's like the butterfly breaking out of the chrysalis. In truth, in essence, it's the determination to drive your goal into fruition. But out of balance, it's I'm giving up. That's it. I'm overwhelmed. And there's so many people out there now who are saying, well, if you feel anxious or overwhelmed in any way, stop what you're doing. But it doesn't mean stop everything. It means stop, take charge, get back in center, get back in your flow, because that's where the manifestation is going to take place. Now, so it means two things. When you feel this energy, it's overwhelm, it's almost panicking, it's struggling even to fight for the sake of fighting. It's that wobble before the breakthrough. So it can mean stop. So you're absolutely correct. It can mean stop, but it's the reason so many people stop just before they're about to reap the reward of their hard work. And you only know when you get back in balance and reset your energy and ask your inner yes, no, the proper questions. I
That's
have,
it. Yes,
it's amazing.
that's so important, that what you just mentioned, because this is the energy of the transit. And you said that just before we started recording, and you said that thing. It's like when you understand that this is the transit, it's sort of like a permission. You don't carry responsibility for it. While you still need to be responsible, obviously, for actions you're taking in your life, but you don't have to identify with this. This is something that I really, really find a lot of relief in ever
Mm.
since I started checking in with the transits. And you know what? You have to have a personality for this, I think, because before the transit, it would be horoscopes. Before, or I have a cosmic guide who produces Elizabeth Peru. She produces her, daily forecasts. And there's always something. I want to know that it's not me, because if it's me, I'm gonna feel like I'm going insane every day. There's something. But a lot of us are living in this, like cooking in the soup in a way, thinking that something is wrong with them and just getting really dragged into the drama instead of slowing down to accelerate, which is still continuing be the theme of this week. And if I may just add, because I still did the research, it was only this kind of like a boiling point, like I don't know if I want to do it, but I did the research for this gate 39 because it's my daughter's birthday tomorrow. So this is the theme of her life. This is the sun gate, which is like 70% of her energy is in it. And there's so much interesting stuff that I see in this transit and this influence. For example, that the background of melancholy and sadness is normal. This is normal. And we want to, every time we feel sad or melancholic, we see it as a bad thing. But I don't know about you, but in my life, I springboard out of the negative. When bad things happen to me, that is a catalysis for my all breakthroughs. And when things are good, I find myself, I get lazy. It's like a friend of mine said, it's like melting chocolate. He was talking about falling in love, and when everything is good, it's like melting chocolate. Bleh. And I love it because this is exactly how, when everything is good, feels. It doesn't push you to through, it doesn't give you this. But those days when you want to quit and then you share it with someone, and like Anita, today you were my angel, and you're saying, hey, but this is like, it's like a seed, or it's just before the end, just before the breakthrough. And also something that Anita said to me today, she said, maybe when I was mentioning that, there's people unsubscribing when I'm sending emails about these transits, maybe it's not something I'm meant to talk about. But we're not talking about human design transits here as such. We're talking about how to leverage the current influences right now this week, and actually springboard off it, and actually create either create a breakthrough and take action, or sometimes go within, because that's also part of taking action. Slowing down. Look at the animals, the hunters, the predators, how much time they spend resting and preserving the energy so they can then go and find that, go and eat, basically, right? Go and survive. And they will take, especially cats, wild cats, they rest and they sleep and then they leap. I'm not talking about the cheetahs who run, I'm talking about the ones that, like, they just do things in leaps. They have to
Mm.
preserve the energy, so it's all part of the things. But I also wanted to sort of share with you, in my research, like, gate 39 is the gate of provocation, and we think provocation is a bad thing, but it isn't. And there's, in some languages, there are even sayings that are saying that the bad thing can be balanced by another bad thing. And I will give you an example. One day I was very depressed. I started getting my hormonal sort of like low moods in my mid 40s, and I remember this was one day, it was very strange for me, that I was getting really down, really depressed. And my late husband Les offered me to watch a movie. He says, okay, you're not feeling, let's watch a movie. And somehow we found on Netflix, we found this English movie called The Ritual, or maybe Ritual without a D. It's amazing. First of all, I highly recommend. It's like set in the Nordic in Sweden, and it's just really, really good. And it's scary, and it's good scary, not just some jump scares that are, like overused. And I was feeling so down, and I was in a dark place, but by watching this really dark movie, it sort of like balanced it out. And I remember how the mood completely swapped. And so today, while I was researching about how this provocation works, how this energy works, it can be something like this. You can be feeling down, and somebody can say something super humorous that will just lift up your spirit, and bam, you're on the other side of this feeling. So there is a lot of creativity that can be that derives from melancholy and from that. So I think that it's about seeing everything for what it is. And because it's a gate of provocation, of course there's going to be a lot of obstacles and confrontations, and we might feel like we want to confront, whether it's a positive way, like I was, sharing I want to quit, or it could be like a fight, because there's also a grounding energy, but it's an energy of a gate of a fighter, gate 80, 38. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned as well, like, it's a seed that has to go through. There's a bit of a fight with, there is obstacle that happens, and you just really need to trust. And another thing that really stood out to me is, ask yourself, when you are dealing with these negative thoughts, obstacles, wanting to quit, do you see the clear purpose for this? Do you feel like something just needs to be adapted because this is a period of change, or you're continuing to do things on autopilot or the way you always did them, and that creates frustration, because you can't expect different results if you're doing things in the same way you've always done them, right? It's a definition of madness. So this is what I feel like, this energy right now. And I'm so grateful to Anita to actually just calling me out on this and saying, hey, this is the energy of the week. It's not you. And
Yeah.
and this is where, for me, just to kind of like demonstrate, immediately my spleen, and I'm a splenic projector, as some of you know, my spleen immediately said yes. Although as I was preparing, there was a lot of metallic taste in my mouth. I have a taste determination and cognition, so both kind of saying to me, something's wrong, something's misaligned, something's wrong. But the wrong thing wasn't the fact that this didn't work for me. The wrong thing was that I was allowing myself to want to quit. And the thought of quitting was misaligned. And when Anita said, let's push through, it's like a seed, you just need to push through. You're just before the breakthrough. The night is always the darkest before the dawn. And my whole body, my spleen was like, yes, I know this is correct. And I was like, okay, let's record it. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll put the makeup on. Everything's going to be okay. And I feel like it's really important that we're sharing it today.
A big part of this is learning to trust in your own quiet, learning to trust in your manifesting process. So we had a brilliant example as well. A few years ago, we needed to sell a house, and I don't know, did I tell this story already, but the house was on the market for a good while. It wasn't selling. And I knew we needed to get rid of it. And that was my manifesting process, right? And I was there, okay, I got into balance. What's my guidance? And the guidance was go back to Cleveland, do the due diligence, clean up the garden, just give it a quick clean over, because we literally packed everything up, closed the door and walked away. Like we didn't even arrange for it to be cleaned. So I did that, and I knew I was on track, because when I got to Cleveland, my friends and neighbors there all showed up at the door to help us to clear up the place, right? And I was sitting in the airport, and 4 days later, after doing a massive cleanup of the house, and I was there to my husband, this is it, the house is sold. Now, there was the gap, right? We've taken our guidance, we've taken the action, and we're not seeing the results yet. That's where this energy comes in, right? It's, oh my God, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Do we bother? Do we start renting it instead, right? So my husband was getting into we better have contingency. We better have plan B, C, D, E, and F. And I was there, no, I'm focused, I'm grounded, we're selling this house, that's it. So the point I was making was that I didn't jump into the drama. I didn't jump into the alternatives, to the panic of, oh, we better do this or this or this, nor did I jump into the fight. But the energy did escalate as the goal wasn't realizing, as we weren't getting an offer. So it's to be aware, this is normal. This is like part of our manifesting breakthrough. Okay. And so I was there. I had to literally anchor in. I had to really ground, really center, really stay focused on my energetic balance. And 4 days later, the Saturday, we got our offer. And I was there going, oh my God, this is brilliant. But when we got the offer, it was a low ball. So I said, no, we're gonna counter offer. And my partner was going, oh, we can't counter offer. We have to take the first thing that came along, right? Remember last week was,
Hispanic. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
make the lemonade, right? And I said, no, we're going to go back with it's fair what we're going back with. And they came back, and by the end of the weekend, by the date that I had set for this manifesting for this house to be sold, the 30th of March, it was Sunday evening, 6 o'clock, the 30th of March, that the house was sold. 2 weeks later, it was done and dusted. So what it does is the commitment is to our flow, our inner balance, our ability to recognize the fight for what it is. As you said, don't identify with it so much, because now that spins you back into creating through scarcity.
Yeah,
You don't
that's right.
ever break through. And this is probably, I have this whole channel, so this is probably why I teach people manifesting, because it's about being able to recognize the conflict at the breakthrough stage and decide, is it time to quit or is it time to move forward? Because my
Wow.
daughter would do that. She would ring me and she would say, Mom, I just want to check in with my sacral. Is it time to move on, or am I running?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it's so funny.
it's always good, but it's again brings us down to what's your inner guidance, to
Mm,
understand how does guidance work for you? Because of course, if you're a reflector or mental projector, you have the outer guidance in a way, like you have to find that clarity by talking at people maybe and waiting. Timing is really important for you, yes, but for the majority of the world, there's also some indication within your body that
mm,
can help you know, just like I described. For example, Anita was saying this is the energy of the week, and you know what, if my spleen knew that this is wrong for me, I would get this real strong sense of danger. I usually get this, so I'd know no, I would go no, and I'm okay with, I honor this guidance. I've been experimenting now for literally living this for over 3 years. Magic really happens when, in spite of all the argument, in spite of anyone's, excited chemistry, within whether it's for you or not, and you go with it. And this is what I really encourage you to lean into, because the magic does happen on the other side. It is this kind of like the last break before the breakthrough. So we are now adapting to change and finding that creativity. And perhaps sometimes you can create from that. So in terms of, your online visibility, you're struggling with something this week. Ask yourself, is there a clear purpose for this struggle? Is there something that I'm adapting? And maybe you can go and do what we just did. Create content, sharing where you at, sharing this thought process, sharing your vision. And you never know. Sometimes I know that I write sometimes, and as I write, it's almost like I coach myself out of a problem, right? So we can write, we can talk, we can create something that will essentially empower others too, because everybody's struggling and everybody thinks something's wrong with them, and everybody else is normal. Like, it's normal for us to think that we are the ones that are struggling and everybody has their act together. But no, most people are struggling. Very little have their
Exactly.
act together. That's the truth.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. This is the energy to help us transform from an experience of a result where we feel victim or powerless into the greater prosperity of what we actually do deserve. But we've been taught, we've learned, we've grown up with, and society is in fight or flight because of all these massive changes. So the fight or flight will throw you back in the battle, as opposed to using your design to understand your energetic balance and how to achieve it. And then, as I said, grounding into that, anchoring into that. And that's the persistence. Persist with my flow, because that's where I get the results, right? Whereas the other is, no, I'm just getting more fight and more flight. And this is the energy where you find there's a number of places in the chart, but this is one of them where people kind of quit before it's finished, and then they keep striving, never arriving, never
Yes.
getting that result. So in business, it's important to know this, how you do this. Some people will fight, some people will run, some people will be overwhelmed, some people will just phase out in their minds.
Or phone, try to
Yeah,
please others, which is the worst thing you can do in business. Try to please. Oh, what do they need to hear? What do I need to do to attract them? Your focus is on them and you're trying to guess. You're second guessing. It's not a grateful activity, trust me. It
yeah.
doesn't ever work. It doesn't work. So why not lean into what you love instead? Because you
Yeah.
can. It's only a week of this
It's
energy.
gas, isn't it? And there is uncertainty in this channel. Like, it is connected
Yeah.
to the emotion center. So there is uncertainty here. And it's really to establish what is worth my precious time, my precious energy. Because guess what? We're amazing. We're amazing. And we don't need to spend our time in fight or flight anymore.
This is the perfect way to wrap it up. I'm going to leave you guys with just one thing. Challenges like this week, they're not here to break you. They're here to make you more resilient. When you follow inner guidance and you focus on what you love and you focus on being a little bit clearer in your purpose, the transits will go, but you will stay, and all the action you've taken this week will stay with you. So you will have to face the consequences. I'm not saying don't take action, but do check with your authority, with your inner guidance, if this is right for you, if this is yours, or you're just being dragged into the drama.